Well, hello again. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm gonna show you this fancy thing that's a monopod that I made with clay and resin for the first time. Okay, so first here I actually found all this cool moss and stuff growing in our forest and decided to make this kind of out of this world landscape, but then I decided I need to design some sort of cool character to go with it. So I got out my bakeable clay and started mixing in what I wanted. But to be honest, I was not prepared for how tiny I would have to make it because I didn't realize how small the mold I bought was, plus the mold that was going to be the landscape. So sorry if it's a little hard to see because this guy is really tiny. I'm not quite sure why I chose to do this one-footed creature, but it was partially because of the monopods from history, partially because of the duffel-puds from Narnia. But anywho, he was a little hard to make because his head kept popping up, but eventually he stood nice and sturdy. Except he was still made of clay, so had to throw him in the oven to turn up the heat a bit. After he'd cooled down a bit, I got him all glued to his little mound of moss, and he was all ready to be put in. Gave him a little stick, or I don't know, I like to think of it as like some sort of magic staff. But yep, you can come up with your own story. But anywho, I had to mix it all up and get him all nice and put in there. It was a little harder than I expected because stuff kept wanting to float, but well, we'll see that later. And well, I found out you're not supposed to just kind of throw it all in there because it kind of floated on me. But after letting it dry overnight, I tried again with just filling up the rest after I was sure that that had dried up and sealed, but we'll see how that looks later. But I found out that after I kept filling it, I kept having to go back to put in more because I didn't realize how slowly the bubbles would come out, because I would come back and there would just be a giant gap at the top that I needed to fill. And I kept playing with the extra resin, putting stuff in it, so I kept having to make more resin every time I had to finish filling the mold. It was a fun time. So after a couple days, I finally got to start getting them out of their molds, and it was really fun. It was kind of like Christmas, getting to open each one up, but I kind of saved the sphere for last because that was what I was most nervous about because I wasn't sure what the leak had caused, but in the end, they all looked really good. I was really happy. Although the sphere did obviously have a little bit of offset from the leakage, and it had kind of a rim around it that I decided I was going to try to get off with some sanding and polishing, even though it was really clear already, so I was a little sad because it really didn't need to be sanded and polished except for the little bump on top and ridges on the side. My main worry was that it was kind of sticky on the bottom, and I wasn't quite sure what to do about that, so I kind of just left it. So next I got to work on sanding the ridges off, and after doing some research and trying to buy some sanding supplies, I decided since it was coronavirus everywhere and I didn't really want to get out, I decided to kind of work with what I had. I already had these super fancy nail tools that I had gotten for a few Christmases back and didn't really use that much, so I decided to take a chance and just try them. I was actually really impressed with how good they worked. It took a while, so I wouldn't recommend them for big jobs, but I will definitely use that again, especially for more detailed work. But my only problem was that there were still scratches because the nail files didn't go smooth enough. So I eventually got a nail buffer and tried that. Tried polishing it down as much as possible, but I still had to go online and buy some polish because it just was really foggy in the end. I was really impressed with the polish I bought because I thought that there was absolutely no saving it because it had been turned so foggy after sanding it, but it actually cleared up a whole ton by polishing it, so I got really excited. And although it was probably more clear before the process of sanding and polishing, I was still super excited with the result. Well guys, that's my video for today. I hope you guys really liked it, and if you didn't, please give it a big thumbs up, at least for the kitties, because they're just adorable and they kind of stole the show at the end. So I hope you guys have a great week. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you next week. Bye!